Hello! Today we're going to talk about Kurzweil 3000 for Macintosh. Alright, we're going to get started. I've brought up all the toolbars that you might see when you first open a Kurzweil 3000 for Mac. You can go ahead and select from the starting points if you'd like a new document, open an old document. You can read the internet using it. Or you can scan a new document. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I've already opened a document, so we'll just go ahead and get going. One of the things you'll find is the tip of the day that pops up every day, and or every time you open it. You can go ahead and click through that, or you could probably go up into the preferences and set the preferences so that doesn't pop up every time you open the program. Let's talk about the reader toolbar. Let's talk about the reader toolbar. The reader toolbar allows quick and easy access to how you want the text read. You can read it by word, by phrase, by line, by sentence. You can also have it do it continuously, self-paced, a word by word, your choice. You'll notice that there are a couple extra voices, the Capstral Callie and the Capstral David, added to this list. Kurzweil is shipping Callie and David with the program, which is kind of nice because the Macintosh voices can be hard to understand and not very lifelike. So that's a nice little added bonus. And if you don't like either Callie or David, you can also go to the Capstral web page and go ahead and download a different voice. It is a cost. There's a cost associated with that, so you might want to check it out. All right, I'm going to leave it at Capstral Callie, and I want it to read aloud. And I've already dropped the words per minute down because Callie, she's a fast reader. Notice I've opened a program, or notice I've opened the Ancient World, a pre-scanned social studies unit. This is about the first civilizations, and I'm going to go ahead and click in here, and I'm going to have Callie read to you for a moment.
Unit bar the Ancient World, Chapter 3. The first civilizations. Many important early civilizations developed in the Middle East in what is called the Fertile Crescent. This large arc of land starts at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea and curves northward and then south, ending at the Persian Gulf, the first major civilization that we know about.
Right. Notice how as the phrase comes up that's being read, it's got a highlight on it, and then as the voice reads, it highlights the word that it's on. So your eyes can follow along with the program itself as it reads. If you look at any of the literature that any of the scan and read programs put out, they will note about, this as being enhancing understanding according to their studies. So let me just touch base about this toolbar also. It's got a highlighting feature, so I could say this is the big idea of the chapter. In this paragraph you could say, oh, this is the main idea. This is a supporting idea. A large arc of land, eastern end of the Mediterranean and ending in the Persian Gulf. That's a supporting detail. The first major civilization. Okay, this is a supporting detail of that. Sumerian. Okay, we could go back up here. Oh, they lived in the Fertile Crescent. Okay, so that's they lived in the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia, and most of Mesopotamia lie between the Tigris and the Euphrates. Okay, so that's kind of a nice feature also, that you can highlight information. Where this comes in handy is if I wanted to go up and I wanted to say extract the notes and highlighted text, it would ask me what I want to extract. I could just hit the button. I'm going to fix this. And at that point, it can extract the information, and you can say, oh, look, this will be on the assessment, this will be on the test. Now, another nice benefit of the Macintosh version of this Kurzweil program, the 3000, is, oh, I don't have to highlight, but I could go up and I could say to it that I want to create an audio file. And I'm going to use Capsule Cali, which is what I was listening to before, and then I could also indicate that I want it to be in an MP3 format. So once I hit OK, let me name it Sample Unit 2. And I'll tell it OK. It will take these notes and it will put it into a WAV format or an MP3 format, and at that point a student can download it onto their iPod and listen to it later. So what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead. Let me just get my iTunes going here. And I'm going to put it should be reading it for me. You can see where I've already done the whole entire unit. The problem with doing the whole entire unit is if you scan in information that is questions or blanks, it often says...
Era Unit Bar The Ancient World Chapter 3 The First Civilizations Many important early civilizations developed in the Middle East.
Okay. But what I want to know is where is the information that we extracted.
The first civilizations Many important early civilizations developed in the Middle East in what is called the Fertile Crescent, large arc of land eastern end of the Mediterranean.
Oh, I see, it didn't do this one, but it did the entire one. So let me close this out. We're not going to save it. We're going to go back to this, the notes, and we can say, create that audio file. We want it to be here. We want it to be sample unit 2, chapter 3. It's going to take it a minute to kind of pop that up. Another nice feature of this program is that it has a word prediction.
The first civilizations Many important early civilizations developed in the Middle East in what is called the Fertile Crescent, large arc of land eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea and curves northward and south, ending at the Persian Gulf. First major civilization, Sumerian Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia. Most of Mesopotamia lay between the Tigris and Euphrates.
So that was the information that I could tell a student, hey, this is going to be on the assessment. This is information that you need to know. There's a couple things that happen there. As I work with a student, I can say, this is how to highlight. This is how to get the big ideas. These are supporting details. So I can go over that with a student, but then I can also give them a way to listen to that later and study for their assessment. Word prediction. It's got a great word prediction feature. And the trick with word prediction is it's going to guess what you are typing depending on A, what letters you put in, and then B, what words you put in. So if I were to start to type,
this is on the test. Most of Mesopotamia lay between the Tigris and Euphrates. This is on the test.
So that word prediction, if I'm a terrible speller, or if I need, or if I have limited mobility, that guessing of the text, depending on what you put in or what you have put in word form, allows a little bit more efficiency. So that's good also. I'm going to go back and I'm going to open Global Studies again and stretch it out. Notice that as I stretch it out, the words became bigger. That's kind of a really nice feature also. For some students, making that text larger can really make a big difference, especially for students with visual impairments. Notice this toolbar down at the bottom where I can go ahead and also enlarge that text. That's a beautiful thing. Another thing, it lists the number of pages that I've scanned in. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to where I know I've got questions. And what I can do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it fits on the page a little bit neater for me. So here's a question. So I'm going to go ahead and read that.
Locate each of the following peoples on the map. Next to each name below, write the name of a nearby river or other body of water. Celtic.
Okay, so the first one is the Celts. And I'm going to go up and I'm going to change my toolbar in the view to the writing toolbar. Okay. So what I can do is I can go up. I can go to my tools. I'm going to go back to my toolbar. Let's grab the one with the T. I could actually click here. Go back up. Let's look. It didn't scan very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up an answer. So where did the Celts live? Let's see. I'm going to put a nearby river or body of water. Then North Sea.
North Sea.
Notice how it reads it for me. Now if I wanted to go ahead and click it.
North Sea Celts, Egyptians, Sumerians.
Okay, so the Egyptians, what body of water was important to them?
Sumerians. The Sumerians lived in the east.
Okay. So not only can a student look at information, but they can, the Kurzweil 3000 scans graphics, actually not in this sample, but fairly nicely, and students could go ahead and refer back to that information. If it didn't, what students could do is they could refer back at the book. They would know where they were if they compared the graphics. I'm going to put in one more answer. I'll just go ahead with that. But now I don't have, first of all, the pencil paper task of writing. If it's in my book, I don't have that copying information out of the book to be able to write it. So I'm eliminating some of the visual stuff that might be going on, or even some of the organizational stuff. Oh, on page 2 of chapter 3, I have to answer these questions, and being able to write down, like, for instance, number 1, page 2. So, Celts, North Sea, Egyptians, Nile, Sumerians, Persian Gulf, that sort of information. And that will sometimes help students quite a bit. And as I go to a different page, and then perhaps I go back, that information stays there if I save it. Additionally, if I were to go ahead and do that, turning it into a MP3 format, that also would be saved. So that's a nice perk too. The reason that it's not highlighted like I did before is I didn't save that when I closed it. So just a note to self. The other thing that you can do is the Fertile Crescent. I could put in a special note here. And in that note I could say
large ear, arc.
I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. How crazy is this one? Large arc for my read. So once I click out of that, I could put in that. Let's go back to my toolbar. I can hide that. Oh. Okay, getting a little bit crazy with the sticky notes. But what I could do, okay, so if I picked a sticky, I could say this will be
The test. This will be on the test.
So I could note it for a student. I could give them special instructions, read this twice, whatever I wanted to. I could put in a special footnote. And the footnote one could be
Fertile Crescent.
and then I could note something important.
What is now the middle East Fertile Crescent? What is now the Middle East?
Good. So now a student could click on that, could come up.
Fertile Crescent. What is now the Middle East?
So now students have a way of noting important things, or teachers could get in and note, hey, this is important. This is important to know. So, whoa, I'm just getting a little crazy with those right now. I'm going to click off of that. The same with the balloons, Persian Gulf. I could go ahead and record something. The Persian Gulf is where the Gulf War happened. Okay. Could also import information. The Persian Gulf is where the Gulf War happened. So if they clicked on that, that would pop up. Let's see. Okay. So open after reading the word. So I could put in a special note for them. I could say,
what was the first civilization? What was the first civilization?
Okay, so let's just do that. Okay. So a student could come along I could click on that.
What was the first civilization? Sumerian, Babylonian, Celts. Option 1, Option 2, Option 3.
So I could check as a student was reading if they were understanding the information. Again, that would be something that a teacher could put in. This is the bookmark tool. So maybe this is important for the test. So I'll put in a bookmark and put, what happened was a little window pops up on the side out of the recording range, and it just says, name it. So I could say, first part of test, or no for presentation. So there's some great tools there. Some nice tools that are developed in this. Alright, that's a little introduction to Kurzweil 3000 for Mac. It does have a reader that reads the internet, and we'll explore that at another time. Thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, go ahead and give Jennifer at atlive.biz an email.